So today I'm here with national level runner Toby Gualter. I'll be doing an interview with him talking about his training, his mindset around races, why he got into running, and also about his upcoming European races all the way in Germany. Toby, how did you first get into running?
So I started running my last year of high school, so in year 13. I was a reasonably good football player, so soccer, and really enjoyed that, but figured that I was a better runner. I had a lot of success with my football, but found that I could always run a lot. Wasn't as skillful as most of the players, so I backed my running and found myself getting into it probably in my last year, and that's when I was approached by a couple of different coaches, and then I moved to L in July of 2018 after New Zealand secondary school cross country, and then pretty much 2019 I had a really good year, and that's when I decided to give up my football and focus solely on my running.
Awesome. So when do you think you realised that you had the potential to be a national level runner?
I think 2019 I remember going to World Cross Country in Denmark. That was my first time overseas in Europe. And I was running against some really top runners, the likes of Jakob Ingebrigtsen, lots of the African guys who are now really good. And back then, I was a guy who I was just from small old town in Wellington, and I hadn't broken 15 minutes for 5K, and I was against guys who are running faster than that. So I thought that was probably the time when I was going to be starting to be a lot better of a runner, and I came home and won 4 national titles in 2019, and that's when I knew that I was probably going to be pretty high level later on in my life.
Absolutely, awesome. And what would you say has been the biggest obstacle you've had to overcome in your running career?
Oh, it's a really good question.
I'm sure you've had many.
Yeah, I would say finding what works. In running, it's really about finding what is going to be the best fit for you, training-wise, environment-wise, the people you surround yourself with, what you have access to. So I would say, I tried, being in America, and that was really good. I learned so much from that, different training systems and all that. So, and I failed under some, and I was successful in some and got some really good results. But I think finding, the importance of rest, nutrition, and sleep. And then finding, what mileage works. So I wouldn't say there's one obstacle. I would say there's many different learning experiences.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And let's talk a little bit about your American running. So you ran at NC State, North Carolina. Tell us more about that part of your life. What made you go over there? What were you doing over there? And what did that teach you about running? And how did you develop over there?
So in 2019, I ended up getting a scholarship to go to the US, and I got that scholarship offer in November, and I was there in January 2020. I started at Eastern Michigan University, which was a very cold place. So I learned a lot how to deal with the cold and be training there, and indoor running and outdoor running and cross country and the NCAA. So started there. It's a bit of a smaller school, but has had a lot of success. Was recruited by a guy called John Goodbridge, and then later that following January, I was coached by a guy called Mark Rinker, and he coached me for probably about 3 years. He was really good. Got into the double threshold type stuff. And I think that's where my results really started to level up. And 2023, I transferred to NC State after 3 years of being at Eastern Michigan, and that was awesome. NC State taught me a lot about how to run in humid weather, so complete opposite to Michigan. And it had some really good teammates there, as well as at Eastern Michigan. But NC State was kind of that last year for me, that last year and a half, where I was competing at NCAA nationals and cross country on a much bigger scale, and and I really enjoyed that. Just how to deal with the downs, and also how to compete at the national level in the US.
Well,
but I loved it.
Awesome, Toby. Now, moving on to some training, how many kilometers would you say you run in a week on average? Well, I guess it kind of depends on what you're training for. Let's say you're training for a half marathon. How many Ks a week would you be running?
Yeah, so before I ran my PB this year in Christchurch, I was running about 170 to 180 kilometers a week.
Wow.
So around about 110 to 115 miles.
Yeah. Big mileage.
Yeah, so days where, you're getting up towards 40K a day on a Sunday.
Almost a marathon.
Yeah, double days every day.
Every day.
And I would do that in 6 days, so I would have Saturday off.
Yeah.
And I really responded well to that, and it showed, I would say, probably in those races after the half as well.
What's the most amount of mileage you've done in 1 week?
I would say 185K.
Whoa.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, that's a massive amount of mileage.
Yep.
Yeah. And do you have a favorite type of workout? Let's say on the track. Do you have a favorite track workout to do?
Yeah, I would say my favorite workout would have to be something like 10 times 1K. I got really good at running 1Ks when I was in America.
Yeah.
Just because that's a lot of how they train, and miles, 1Ks, 800s.
Yeah.
I would say that is probably my favorite workout, just because you know exactly what they mean.
Yeah.
And you can compare to a lot of different workouts you've done in the past. So yeah, that or 400s.
Do you prefer running on the track, road, or cross country?
I believe road. Yeah, I've grown up running on the road, and mostly where I train is on the road. Yeah. So I've always responded well to doing well in road races.
Nice.
And I also love the track, but cross country is something that helps you with that.
Definitely. And what's your favorite distance on the road?
The half marathon, for sure. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I love the half marathon. I haven't really done too many races on the road. Like, apart from that, I've done maybe 1 10K, but my fastest times have been over half marathons. So yeah, the road.
Awesome. And now, how do you mentally prepare for big races? Races that are big and you need to do well. How do you prepare yourself mentally going into that?
I think just reassuring myself that I've done the right amount of quality work, the right amount of mileage.
Yeah, confidence in yourself.
Yeah, and as you were saying about before, my favorite workouts, making sure I do those key workouts that help me with those distance races, for 10K, 5K, and half marathon. So just, sometimes I would go over my training diary and just look at training that I've done, compare it to what I've done before when I ran fast times.
Yeah.
And also, just have that confidence going into races that I've done what I can, and I've trained the right amount of systems, and have belief in what my coach tells me, and I will be right to run.
Absolutely. And now, do you ever get nervous before races?
Yeah, because you care so much. With what I'm doing, I'm trying to be the best runner that I can, and be seen as a top level runner. So, getting nervous is part of the game.
Yeah.
No matter how good you are, I think nerves is a key part to helping you run well.
Yeah, definitely. And now you're running so many miles, so much kilometers per week. What is your nutrition and diet like to be able to support all of your training?
Yeah, keep it fairly simple. Making sure, I think the biggest thing is making sure I have protein within that 30-minute window of when I finish my session or my run, because that's when you need it the most. And then making sure I have a bigger type meal within that hour and a half. So getting my carbs, protein, vegetables, and my fruit in is just covering pretty much the food groups throughout the day. Having stuff like smoothies, having relatively big dinners, because that's at the end of the day and I don't have anything else later.
Yeah.
And just feeling right to the point where I have enough energy to be able to do my best on the track or whatever I'm doing. So just getting in all the food groups pretty much.
Yeah, and that's great advice. I think a lot of people struggle with, especially a lot of runners struggle with getting their diet right. So that's great advice.
Yeah, because you tend to have quite a lot for breakfast, right? And
especially after the long runs.
After a long run.
After long runs, yeah.
Yeah, so you're going to be set up well for the rest of the week. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
No, I want to focus on these Europe races that you have coming up. So you leave, is it Tuesday?
Yeah, 9th of July.
9th of July.
Yep.
Yeah. So you're racing in Germany.
Hmm.
Tell us more about that race and what that is over there.
Yeah, so I'm going to compete at the World University Games in a place called Bochum, Germany. I'm probably butchered the name, but Bochum, I think. And my first race is on the 23rd of July, which is the 10K. And then I'm racing 3 days later in the 5K. And yeah, I mean, I'm really excited. I've been to Europe before in 2019 to a place called Denmark, and which is actually not too far from Germany, if I'm correct. But I think this is kind of the time for me where I believe that I can go to these European races and do really well. Last time I was there, it was kind of just seeing, that level of competition, but now I'm, really excited to go there and fight for a medal, and I think I've done the right things to be able to do that.
Absolutely. And how are you feeling going into these races, mentally and physically?
I think physically feeling good. I've had a half marathon, which I ran this past weekend, and I pretty much did that at a solo effort. So I know I'm relatively aerobically strong. I've been doing 5K type workouts, and I know I can run, probably good 1500 pace as well. But I know that I'm very, very strong. It's just being about, being there with, 600 meters to go. But yeah, I'm feeling confident mentally and physically that I can go there and give it my best shot.
Do you have any goals for the races over in Germany?
Yeah, I think my goals are to do as best as I can in the 10K. I think, from previous years, a lot of it has been a bit of a sit and kick race. So it's just going to be about being there. And yeah, my goal is to win a medal.
Are you looking for any times or just placings?
Just placings, yeah. I go into most races just wanting to win and believing that I can win, and then the times will come from that. If you can put yourself in the position to win and give yourself permission to win, then I think you can be successful. If that's third, second, or first, but at the end of the day, we all want to try to get first.
Who doesn't? Yeah, that's great advice. And so now I want to talk about some struggles and doubts in running. So if you have a race that didn't go so well, how do you bounce back from that, and how do you handle that failure mentally?
If there's one thing, there's many things that the US taught me, and it was how to deal with bad races and how to deal with really good races. But often, bad races make the good races feel really good.
Yeah, of course.
I think, after a race, if I don't have the one that I thought I could, then I would just, give myself, a day or two to just analyze and just think about what I could do better. Maybe it's something in my rest or my nutrition, or maybe on that day I just wasn't feeling the best I could. Maybe I did a workout that was too hard, or yeah, I think, I feel better now to be able to cope with good races, that it gives me motivation for next time. I also think, after a race and then coming and doing a workout, that next workout, I always try and make sure that everything is all good. So making sure I can hit the splits. And I know that if I can do that, it's, it's probably not a fatigue option, not a fatigue problem. It's more just like, you just maybe went in the right mindset. So yeah, but it's something that is popular with a lot of different runners. Everyone has tough races.
Yeah. And have you ever struggled with injuries in the past with your running career?
I've been quite fortunate, actually, to not have any major injuries. I would say if I could describe myself in one word as an athlete, it would be durable. I've been pretty fortunate to do the right things and have really good systems where I don't tend to have problems with injuries. But yeah, I mean, I've had the odd IT band problem, and general soreness that every runner has. Little niggles that that you have, but it's just learning to do the strengthening work, the mobility band work, and just getting lots of rest at the end of the day.
I think every runner at some point will have some sort of injury, so they need to be able to deal with that.
Exactly.
So looking forward, where would you say you see yourself in 5 years' time?
In 5 years' time, so I'll be 30 almost? No, I'll be 29, 30. So That will be after LA Olympics. So, that next year I'd be hoping that, I've competed at the Olympics, and I've done, reasonably well. It would be my first Olympics.
So Olympics is your goal?
Yep.
LA 2028.
LA 2028. And
it's an awesome goal.
Yeah. And I think, if I like to do when I do a sport, or when I put myself or my mindset towards something, I want to do the best I can and achieve the most I can out of it. So yeah, LA is the goal.
Awesome. That's an amazing goal. I really hope you get there, Toby.
Thank you.
Do you ever think about life after running?
Not really. I very much stay in the present. I mean, I'm loving what I'm doing, and going to the track, every day, or going for a run, or doing hard long runs. It's what I get up for on a Sunday morning. Like,
yeah.
So I'm really enjoying the present. But yeah, I mean, there comes a time, when you're done with running, and I would love to help people achieve the same thing. So that could be, coaching or being involved with the race setups, and
yeah.
So that would be something I'd love to do, maybe post running.
Yeah, awesome. And finally, one last question. What advice would you have to any aspiring runners out there, young or old, who are wanting to be the best they can?
Find what works. Have a good system. Because if you have a good system and you have found what works, you're often going to be pretty confident in what you're doing. And yeah, also just do hard things. Do long runs that are hard, make you feel, like you're working a little bit. Doing track workouts, being specific, have purpose in what you do. And also, as I said, doing things for a reason. If you have the time to be able to, run in the morning, then nap during the day, and then come back in the evening and do another session. And I guess also, have good time management skills, I believe, is to being a good runner. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Toby, thank you so much for your time. You put some great advice, some great insights into running. And I'm sure everyone watching has definitely learned something. And we wish you all the best for your races coming up.
Thank you, Ben.
Later this month. So Thank you for your time, Toby.
Thank you very much. Yep.
Cool. Thank you guys so much for watching this interview with Toby. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment down below if you would like to see me interview my running coach. Make sure you all wish Toby the best of luck for his races all the way in Germany at the end of July. But thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.